Well, thanks for coming, guys.
Hey, Trev,
what's this like being here and meeting? Is this like a drinking from a water, from a fire hydrant type of thing?
well, it's different, but it's really fun. I mean, I've had a chance to kind of reconnect with a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. Pat Fitzgerald, obviously met him in 2015 at the National Football Foundation, and Jim Harbaugh was my quarterback. We didn't play in this building. It was the RCA Dome. They've made some slight improvements to the facilities here in Indianapolis since '94, particularly the turf. I think we had the concrete with the turf that you just zipped up that we played on. So, but no, it's just great. I mean, Brett Bielema, of course, I knew him growing up as well. So just a lot of folks, and great to meet Commissioner Warren, and looking forward to connecting with the staff tonight at dinner. And Josh Whitman, I've known him a little bit as the AD over at Illinois. So it's just a great opportunity to try to get to meet people and make sure that folks know that Scott supported. And I thought Scott did a really good job in front of the media as well. And so, yeah, it's a great experience.
Why is that important that you show your support for Scott and coming here and doing this?
Well, I mean, I feel strongly that, the apparatus around programs needs to be right. And, coaches need to know that the coaches need to coach and recruit. And I'm not suggesting that the apparatus was broken. Please don't. But I'm really passionate about making sure that the coaches just have nothing to worry about, can control what they can control, focus on the fundamentals of what it is they do. I mean, Scott Frost is the head football coach here because he knows football and he knows how to recruit, and the rest of our staff. And so I'm going to work really hard to make sure that he's comfortable in knowing that the apparatus around the football program is operating appropriately, and he doesn't have to worry about any of those types of things.
Trev, you heard Scott say he likes that team. He's confident. He's very confident team. Do you have this early in your tenure an expectation for this season for the football program?
I've thought a lot about that. I can promise you will never hear me talk about numbers of wins, low or high. It's just not, I'm really focused on, again, just narrowing our focus. I like incremental growth, and, looking at the small fundamental things, because ultimately those things lead to what we all want, right? And so it's just it's the fundamentals, it's the discipline, it's the areas of focus in the right areas that ultimately lead to, being a successful football team. So I think sometimes, we're so focused on, the outcome that we forget that the process will be the primary driver in getting the outcome we all want. And so I think, I can focus on that administratively, and I can help our coaches understand that. But from a football perspective, I'm pretty confident in Scott and our coaches that they have that area under control.
Is that some Osborne influence idea there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I have heard him talk a lot over the years, probably. But again, I don't want to be that guy that keeps going backwards. We're looking forward, right? But there are some real lessons, in it isn't just Coach Osborne, but you look at successful coaches. You focus in the right areas. Control what you can control, right? So there's things I can control, there's things I can't control, there's things Scott can control, there's things he can't control. So any amount of time and effort and energy we put in areas that are beyond our control are taking away from the very things we could do to make sure that we have, as good of a process in place to allow us to be successful.
Hey, Trev,
sorry.
Go ahead. You walked back into this football thing at a pretty interesting moment for the sport. From NIL to playoff expansion, transfer portal, conference realignment yesterday talk. What do you, when you take all that in, what do you think of Nebraska's place, its level of stability and security as a member of the Big Ten and with where it's at?
Well, I think past leadership at the University of Nebraska should be applauded. We often talk about how uncomfortable this time is, and it is. It's a changing environment. There's a lot of stress. There's angst. I was on a Big Ten call, the AD calls, and it's pretty obvious that there's a lot on people's plates. Plus, we're just coming off a pandemic. People are concerned and stressed. Now's the time when you want to be a part of some stability. And so I can tell you that the University of Nebraska is very privileged, pleased, and honored to be a member of the Big Ten Conference, and especially in light of what some of the narratives will be nationally.
Considering just in the big picture where Nebraska has been as a football program in the last 5 to 10 years, and you talk about not want to look back, but how do you kind of get Nebraska back to that level that we're accustomed to seeing like 30 years ago? What is the key to doing that?
Well, we're not going to get back there talking about what we used to do, because nobody cares. We're not going to get back there talking about winning championships. We're going to get back there by executing the fundamentals administratively and coaching that get you there. And those are just very simple things, frankly. It's just hard work. It's encouraging the coaches to narrow their focus in on those very small details that ultimately win you games. There's a little hidden yardage here or there. And, Coach Osborne would talk to us about special teams and the importance of field position and 7 to 10 points. I mean, this is a conference that has elite coaching. This is a conference that has elite offensive and defensive coordinators with elite amounts of resources. The margins of errors in this conference are very, very small. And so we need to understand that, and we need to have a process that allows us to similarly have the focus and discipline to build what ultimately will be successful.
What have you and Scott talked about in the 4 times you met in the last, I don't know, however many days?
Well, I will also tell you that, what Scott and I discuss in terms of expectations and others will always be between Scott and I.
Sure.
And to me, that's part of trust, okay? I can assure you that Scott Frost wants the very same thing I want. We care deeply about this institution. We care deeply about the football program. What he and I will do is Scott Frost is going to hold me accountable, and I'm going to hold him accountable. And we're going to have the kind of trust that we can have the difficult decisions with one another and know it's out of love, because we both love this place. And so, really a lot of it early on is establishing that type of trust and understanding and being accessible and make sure that he knows he has somebody that's fighting for him. It isn't just so much fighting, it's fighting about the fundamentals and making sure that he has in place what he needs to be successful. And that's my role, to be my role not only with Scott Frost, but John Cook and Amy Williams and Will Bolt and everybody else. So.
Hey, Trev, the sellout streak is a big part of Nebraska, and it's going to be a big topic here this month. What do you know about the ticket numbers and the chances of extending the streak based on what you've seen so far?
I do know the numbers. I'm not going to share those with you. I will tell you that Husker Nation is doing their part, and we're really excited. That doesn't mean we don't have work to do, okay? But what it means is we're going to continue working hard and making sure, and I think you probably maybe have seen that we heard very loudly from a portion of our fan base that they wanted to have a paper ticket option. Obviously, we do need to move into mobile ticketing and those types of things, but perhaps this isn't the year. We're coming off a pandemic. There's a lot of unknowns, and so we're going to make sure that everything that we do takes in consideration how do we engage our fans at where they are in terms of what their expectations are. We won't always be able to do that, but we don't have much at the University of Nebraska without our fan base. So we're going to embrace them, and we're going to try to have policies that are in their best interest.
How important is that
What are one or
sellout
two
streak?
things that you want to discuss with Commissioner Warren off the top? Do you have a couple things at the top of your list?
Well, the first thing I want him to know is that we are a proud member of the Big Ten, extraordinarily proud member of the Big Ten. And I've already told him we're going to do our part. But I also want him to know that the University of Nebraska is a proud institution that has strong feelings in a lot of areas. And I want to be able to have the relationship with him to be able to communicate those in a way that are respectful, but yet that our institution's voice is heard. And I believe wholeheartedly that the Commissioner Warren is interested in that. And so we'll be meeting next week. There's obviously some important topics that we'll be discussing, and I want to make sure that the University of Nebraska's perspective and voice is heard in this conference.
Is this a one-on-one meeting?
Yeah.
Is it here in Chicago?
That's to be determined yet. So we might do it in your backyard. If
That'd be fine. Welcome.
We'd like brats and burgers if that's okay.
Hey, Trev, how important is that number, that 375 sellouts to you? I mean, you were a part of it.
I think it's really important because it's reflective of our fans. But I will tell you too is that I'm not really interested in perception. I'm interested in reality. I think part of good organizations is having the courage to examine the blatant truths of your current reality. That's a quote from an old admiral. But the reality is, part of growth is we need to be honest with ourselves, warts and all. There's some really great things about our program. There's some things that need some work. So let's define them, understand them, and if at the end of the day, the reality doesn't match the perception, I'm not a guy that's got to keep perception going. The reality is, though, that our fan base has spoken very strongly, and our fans are the envy of a lot of these institutions, and I hear it a lot, and I'm really proud of it.
What is the truth about your football program today? You said warts and all. What is the truth about it?
The truth of the football program today is we have really good coaches. We have a fan base that is starved and hungry. I can also say the blatant truth is that, over the last several years, we've not executed and accomplished what we all would like to do, and we've got a lot of work to do. It isn't just with the football program, it's with the athletic department as well. We're committed to getting that done. We'll do the work, but we're just going to get focused in those small, minor details. That's, to me, what the issue is. And so I think we've been really focused on outcomes. And outcomes are great. We all want the same outcome. But without the proper process, we'll never get the outcome we want. And so I think we can do a better job of that and helping all of our coaches and our administrative staff to focus on
You
that.
want to bring some folks on board, from either UNO or from other places to be in the athletic department because you think they'd be good and you think they would help you.
Well, I've been there 3 days, and I'm still learning. I had a hard time finding the training table. Dave Ellis sent me a text and asked if I wanted lunch, and I got lost. So, well, Sam, give me a couple days to figure that out. But no, we're going to find people who are very interested in doing what's in the best interest of Nebraska. And you know what? We got a lot of those people on our staff. It's not like we've got a lot of hardworking people, but are we all in the right roles? And are they all activated? We have a lot of assets that maybe aren't activated where they need to be and given the autonomy to, to run, right? So we'll do all that assessment, and that's why I'm really focused administratively. It's hard for me to hold coaches accountable until I'm very confident that the administrative side is executing at an elite level. And I haven't made that assessment yet.
One or two more guys. Commissioner Warren was saying that they're leaving out COVID policies to individual campuses. Is that something that you yourself will leave for the Nebraska Medical Center to figure out? How involved will you be, and how involved will someone like Scott be in the process?
Yeah, so obviously, we have a medical team within the athletic department, and then we're really blessed to have the University of Nebraska Medical Center, and they've been very involved in the past. Scott Kepsel and Dr. Hendricks and Steve Cradaville. So it's really a collaborative effort. Ronnie Green, our chancellor, has policies on our campus that, our policies have to fit within. But also leveraging, again, all of those collective assets. Dr. Albers and our medical team will come together with the proper protocols in place. And then what we're all going to do is we're going to be submitting those to the Big Ten, which then they can aggregate those results and ultimately come up with some policies that will work for all of us.
Hey, Trev, how do you summarize not just your first few days, but the last few weeks just of everything that's gone on in your life and all of this that you're taking on?
It's awesome. Wouldn't change it for the world. It's a dream.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out here. We could have just done this in Omaha, maybe. Saved you a little money.